So JohnSmith not choosing to switch here. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the deck list, I'm pretty surprised because it's really not super clear how this Lionar deck is going to deal with this Magmar deck. I mean, the Zuriel has exactly the Decimate, but then even beyond that, the Magmar deck just has a lot of threats. It's a little bit more late game, and trying to get your Archon and your Zir to sort of carry you to victory doesn't seem like it's that likely to work. And then JohnSmith's other deck, the Songhai deck, seems like it'd be really good against sort of a clunky, greedy Magmar deck. Just really good chance of bursting that.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't feel good about if they switched to the Songhai, then Omega would switch to his Linar with 3 Sandrops, 3 Rust Crawlers, 3 Archons, 3 Admiral Rejuvenators. So maybe that's why. And I don't think this is unwinnable matchup. I think Omega showed they sort of know what's going on in the matchup. They played it really well last game, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That JohnSmith is thinking ahead and saying, if I take the Songhai deck, then Omega in game 3 is just gonna play this Linar deck that completely destroys the Songhai deck and is just completely unwinnable. So, yeah, JohnSmith had no choice but to stick with this deck. So really clever deck choice by Omega, using the format really well.
Yeah, it is an interesting format in that regard.
So great Tempest. Often in these games that go to fatigue, it can be really worthwhile to try and get the most out of every single card in your deck, because otherwise, towards the end of the game, your hand is going to be full of cards that do nothing, right? So sometimes you're just going to want to prioritize playing cards that are going to be a waste of space later.
Although, speaking of getting the most out of everything, I don't quite know why JohnSmith backed up out of the center tile. I thought he was going to play a minion in a safe spot, but he just didn't play anything.
It might be this sort of back and forth thing where now if JohnSmith starts running forward, then the Dancing Blades in Omega's deck are less good.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to deal with this Archon at any rate. Needs a martyrdom right now, or he's just going to body block with his own Archon. Okay, Archon wars begin.
Yeah, this Archon is a lot less scary for Omega. I mean, Omega can easily punch this if he wants to, because there's a lot of stuff in Omega's deck that JohnSmith is going to have to martyrdom, and JohnSmith generally has very little burst. So taking 7 is not a big deal. But
they don't even need to.
Yeah. I mean, instead just choosing to make counter and push some face damage and say, especially with an Archon on board, JohnSmith doesn't have enough mana to deal with all the stuff they need to deal with.
I thought I might have a second Tempest here, which would at least be pretty reasonable. But instead, going to have to hit this Mercantor. And, no follow-up. I think JohnSmith just doesn't have many 2-drops, right?
He's got 9. 3 Lion, 3 Mystic, 3 Rustcaller. Yeah. I'm a little surprised, though, because, what's in his hand, I think that he's got to be replacing the Tempest, but, usually you have either reactive hand or proactive hand, and...
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting, because I think I would have Tempested the turn earlier and martyrdomed the turn before that, but, he had this Circle of Life, and now how's he going to deal with this Vindicator? Tough spot.
Yeah, so JohnSmith only runs 2 Circle of Life. They do have an Alcuin, so they could Alcuin Circle if they want to. They have 2 Immolations that they can use. Here they're using the Immolation to clear the Dancing Blades instead of the Vindicator, which is terrifying. Leaving a Vindicator up when your opponent has a lot of mana is really scary. So Azuriel could get Vindicated out here. That'd be the worst case.
Yeah. So they've chosen to flash the Harvester and Mercantor. I think that's just one off, isn't it?
Though, I mean, I think it's kind of, yeah, Omega saying giving the oops here, of course, they should be flashing the Mercantor because it's going to die anyway to the Harvester.
Yeah. But
also, kind of strange that Omega is moving the Vindicator in here. Now JohnSmith has a lot of ways to clear this, and this Vindicator is really valuable. When you have a lot of mana, and it's kind of hard for JohnSmith to clear it if you just run it away.
Yeah, it's insane how much reach Vindicator gives you. Like, you can move it, then cast something on the diagonal, and then move that, and it gives you a massive amount of reach.
Wow, so here, JohnSmith is so far behind that they have to decimate. This was sort of another way that Omega could have gone about the match, saying, this Zuriel is a trump card, except for the decimate. So Omega knows that they put enough pressure on and bait out the decimate, then it's just they're going to win eventually with Zuriel. I mean, here they just have the second Vindicator and sort of win anyway. But yeah, as soon as Omega baited out that decimate, it was over. So great job to Omega. Just really, really good play, and realizing that if they start putting that pressure on JohnSmith in the mid game, that can lead to them using the decimate. And then that was a great approach, and Omega executed it very, very well.